Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am going to do a video today for you guys about my dairy-free journey and Carter's colickiness and what you might be able to look for if your baby could potentially have an allergy of some sort. So I'm just going to start from the very beginning. I'm going to try to make this quick because Carter's napping and he's probably going to wake up any second. So I knew that Carter had an issue when my aunt came over to visit one day, and Carter would not quit crying. Nothing I did or Matt could do or my aunt could do or anybody could do would make him stop crying. And you could tell he was crying because of gas pains. He would flinch up and get really tight and then release. And I tried every method possible. I tried gas drops, gripe water, colic calm. I tried the massages. I tried lifting his legs up, bicycle motions, everything, and nothing would stop the gas pains. And I knew something was wrong with him. So I immediately called the doctor because he had one day where he just cried for 24 hours. Day and night, he wouldn't quit crying, and he was pretty much a colicky baby. And this didn't show up for maybe 3 weeks. And so not just crying unconsolably, he was having projectile vomit all the time. So I was thinking maybe it's reflux, because reflux does hurt, and if they're not on any type of medicine to stop the hurt in their throat, it's just like when we have heartburn or acid reflux, it hurts, so you take medicine for it. Same for babies. And so he was just crying all the time, so I'm like, I gotta take him to the doctor. And this was happening around the time that we were moving from Georgia up to North Carolina. So I immediately wanted to take him to the doctor, and I ended up taking him to the doctor the day before we moved. I pretty much just told the doctor, he's been crying nonstop. There's nothing I do fixes it. Nursing doesn't fix it, and he was breastfeeding. If you don't know, and if you are breastfeeding, everything you eat is transferred to your baby. The taste and the proteins from what you eat gets transferred over. The doctor told me it is either reflux. That's what she said. It's either reflux, or he had something wrong with his stomach, to where when they're little, their stomach doesn't close all the way, so acid just keeps going up and up and up, and it's very, very painful. But she never mentioned an allergy. And she wanted to do an ultrasound on him, and they didn't want me to feed him for 4 hours. And when you have a newborn, they want to eat every hour. She wanted me to go get an ultrasound done, have a blood work done, all this stuff done on him. And I told her no. Left the doctor with no answers, and I started doing my own research and found out that all of the symptoms Carter had, he had really rosy cheeks, along with everything else I've mentioned, and everything was saying allergies. So I called the doctor back, and I was like, I think he might have a dairy allergy. Is there any way that we can test him for this? And she said yes. So the way that they test your baby for an allergy, and I don't know if this is the same for all allergies, I think it is when they're this little, but is to do a stool sample. And when your baby has some kind of allergy, the lining of their intestines is really, really irritated, and therefore it causes blood in the stool. It can be visible or it can be microscopic. And if there is blood in their stool, you know immediately that he has an allergy. So tested his stool, came back positive for microscopic blood in his stool. So that immediately told the doctors, yes, he has an allergy. And they tell you to cut out dairy because dairy is one of the top allergies for babies. And a lot of people get confused. It's not lactose. So your baby is not allergic to the lactose in the milk. It's allergic to the milk protein. It's called a milk protein intolerance. The milk protein intolerance comes a slew of different symptoms for different babies. Some babies have visible blood in their stool. Some babies are like Carter and just excessively cry. Some get eczema all over their body. Some get eczema in a designated area. Carter got it on his cheeks and on his back. And there's just a slew of other symptoms. So if you think your baby might have it, just go research the other symptoms and you'll see. But the doctor called and was like, you need to either switch to formula or cut out 100% of dairy out of your diet immediately. So I knew I wanted to keep breastfeeding, so I decided to cut dairy completely. And what they don't tell you is that dairy is hidden. It's called hidden dairy, and it's hidden in a lot of things. So besides cutting just regular cheese, milk, yogurt, cream cheese, sour cream, anything, coffee creamer has dairy, even though it says non-dairy. We'll get to that in a second. But so there's all different, besides just the regular dairy items that you need to cut, you also have to read the ingredients in a lot of things. So that brings me to the hidden dairy. Dairy can be in lunch meat, from sausage and bacon, or sliced turkey. It can be in your coffee creamer, even though your coffee creamer says dairy-free. A lot of people don't realize dairy-free means lactose-free. Dairy-free does not mean dairy-free. Non-dairy means dairy-free. So if you see a product that says dairy-free and you're trying to cut dairy because of the milk protein intolerance, it's not dairy-free. You have to read the ingredients on the back package, and it will tell you if there's like a milk protein in there. And the tricky thing is that milk is called different things. So you're not just going to see like milk fat or skim milk or, cheese, whatever. You're not just going to see that all the time. There were a few items like bread that I thought would be, dairy-free, non-dairy, but you go read in there and there's a thing called whey, W-H-E-Y. Whey is a milk protein that if you don't read up on it and research, you would think that it's fine, but whey is derived from the milk protein. So there was a lot of things I couldn't eat because it had whey in it, or casein. It's C-A-S-E-I-N, I believe. Casein is also a milk protein, but you wouldn't think it was unless you read up on it and really researched. So it's a lot of research, and there's a lot of hidden dairy out there. I was pretty much eating the same thing every day, really bland dinners, really bland breakfast items. I had to buy expensive things, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of non-dairy items out there that are really, really good. I found a non-dairy coffee creamer by Silk that I loved. I switched to almond milk. The only thing I did not find a substitute for was cheese, which was what I made for dinner a lot. I had cheese on a lot of things. So it was hard. I couldn't eat pizza. Anytime anybody got pizza, I had to make sure that there was not butter on the crust. I couldn't get cheese. I had to get cheeseless pizza. And anyway, it's just a lot of work. I cut out dairy completely. Everything out of my diet was done. And it got a lot better. Carter's personality completely changed. He was a happy baby, and it was worth it to not continue on with the dairy. A lot of people don't know this, but formula has dairy in it. Even the expensive kind of formula, Alimentum and Neocate, I believe, are the two formulas that they tell you to get if your baby does have the milk protein allergy. Those, if you read the ingredients, both have the milk protein in it. It's just broken down so small that it doesn't really affect your baby at all. I want to point that out there. If your doctor tells you to switch to formula and you really want to breastfeed, keep breastfeeding, because this allergy thing can be for any allergy. So Carter's allergy just happened to be milk, but there are other babies out there who can have milk, but they can't have eggs, or they can't have soy, and soy is a huge one. Some babies are allergic to nuts, and you have to cut nuts out of your diet. Either way, what I'm trying to say is your baby may have an allergy, and if you cut milk and that doesn't work, try something else, because a lot of babies have multiple allergies where you have milk, soy, and eggs, or a lot of people are top 8 free, which is the top 8 allergens, and you can just read up on that yourself. But fast forward 7 months. So I went dairy free when Carter was 1 month old. I completely cut dairy. And for, I would say, 4 months, I was strict on that diet. I did not eat any dairy at all whatsoever. Around month 5, I kind of started adding in certain things. They have what's called a dairy ladder, where you start at the very bottom and it's like the least amount of dairy, and it goes all the way up to the top, which is cow's milk. So the bottom is baked dairy, and that means like biscuits with milk in them, or biscuits with butter on them, or cookies, or something like that. So I had cheese pizza, and cheese pizza is on the bottom of the dairy ladder because the cheese is baked, and he passed that, so he was not reacting to it whatsoever. And I didn't keep eating those things only because it does build up in your system. So if I were to have like dairy 5 days in a row, he could have had a reaction to it. Eating cheese and having the reaction gave me some hope that he was going to get over this, because some kids do not get over their allergies, and because it's a real allergy. His, I believe, is just an intolerance, and they grow out of intolerances. Allergies, they don't grow out of. So I started with pizza. He passed that, and I kind of just shied away from it because a lot of people don't know this, but it takes 6 to 8 weeks for dairy to get out of your system. So if you are breastfeeding, it takes 6 to 8 weeks to see any type of improvement in your baby. Some babies are earlier than 6 to 8 weeks. Carter's, we saw improvement in him in 2 weeks. Yeah, so if you have dairy, it can take 6 weeks for it to get out of your system, so I didn't want to overload myself with a whole bunch of dairy and then him have a reaction and we have to start all over again. I went like about a month later and decided to try some Coffee Mate coffee creamer that has the milk protein in it. That says it's dairy free, but it's not. And I've been drinking that every day with no reaction. So the other day I decided to just go all out. We were at Chili's and I had chips and salsa, Alfredo for my dinner, and then for dessert I had the cookie skillet with ice cream on it. Y'all, that was so good, and Carter has yet to have a reaction to it. And ice cream is like high up on the dairy ladder, so he passed that. I think we are in the home stretch of me being able to eat whatever I want again. I'm gonna get some cream cheese and try that and see if he does well with it. And I'll keep you guys posted maybe on his next monthly update. I think that's pretty much it, and I really hope this helps any of you. If your baby is colic, you know, and you're breastfeeding or you're formula feeding, try to cut the milk out. Get the Alimentum or Neocate formula, or just cut dairy out of your diet and see if that helps. And if it doesn't help, then maybe something is really wrong and you need to go to the doctor. But otherwise, I would definitely just get their stool checked, and if there's blood in it, that tells you immediately that your baby has some kind of allergy. Ask me any questions. There's so much more information that I have. I just didn't write it all down, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Yeah, comment down below, or get in touch with me with any of my social media. I'll answer any questions that you may have, whether it be like what did you eat, food questions. I mean, anything, I'll answer them for you. So yeah, like this video down below, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and